Federico, man, so glad you're here playing. And you are the number one pickleball player in the world right now. And there's been so much information about you as a pickleball player. I really want to understand Federico, the person, and how I'm fascinated by people that get to the very top of a profession. It's hard to do. And like how you get there, what it takes. Because it's not just pickleball, right? It's like any profession can learn from that. And so, man, tell me about the young Federico.
Thank you for having me, Matt. I might be a little bit moody. I just took a tough loss on singles, so I might be a little bit, sad. But I'll do my best to have a good podcast here. Young Federico was always, crazy about sports. Honestly, I used to play soccer, football back home, we call it, and I used to love it since I was 6, 7. I started playing that sport. I started playing tennis at the same time.
So you played football and
football and tennis
and
were
tennis.
my two sports
in Buenos Aires.
In Buenos Aires, Argentina. My parents always put me in like a different bunch of sports, like swimming. I had to do rugby. My school was kind of like a mandatory thing, and I always did like other secondary stuff. Like we used to have like a kind of like a baseball thing and summer camps, also like padel we used to play. So I was always surrounded by sports, and that's what I liked to do when I was young. I just always wanted to be outside. But soccer and tennis, those were my main sports. Yeah. And then, when I was 10, 11, I had to kind of like choose a path because I heard, you could play tennis or you could play soccer. I was a little better at tennis, so I decided to like kind of like focus on tennis. And since I became 11, 12, I started practicing tennis every afternoon after school, and playing tournaments in the weekends, on weekdays sometimes too. I had to miss school, so I just became a little more competitive with that, and I dedicated my whole life playing tennis. And then I can keep going with that if you want to.
Well, there's such a push in today's world for kids to specialize at a young age. And it sounds like 11 or 12 is kind of late to specialize in a sport in today's world. But did you find that helped you having that soccer background?
Yeah, I think like doing a bunch of different sports starting at such a young age, it gave me good footwork, hand-eye coordination, and just getting to play with other people. Team sports is different than individual sports, and you learn things from both sides. I thought it was big, and then but at the end of the day, I do prefer individual sports. So I'm glad I chose tennis, just because I like that. I like the fact that it's on me. If I succeed, it's on me, and if I don't succeed, it's always on me, and I like that part of it.
Yeah, I think you get such different things from those two sports, and the team sports build something, but individual sports build something different. And I see a lot of young tennis players get burnt out by the time they're 18. How much of that do you think is it's a lonely? Agassi's described it as a lonely sport. It's not as social as pickleball. Kids that specialize in individual sports from like tiny. You think how important is it to have that team, some kind of team experience?
Yeah, I mean you need to have like a team behind you that reminds you what are you doing, right? Because in individual sports, usually you just lose every week or every 2 weeks. You're constantly losing, right? Like in soccer, you play on Sundays, you win, and then next week you could win again. So then there's more, you could win 4 games in a row, and that's a month. So you have a month of just winning. In tennis, in pickleball, same thing. You're losing every week. Unless you're Annalie Waters and you're literally triple crowning every week, you're gonna lose. I mean, and you have to accept the fact that it's okay to lose, and you just gotta keep going. So that's where the team aspect shows up. Where like, I have my girlfriend, my family, my coaches that are like, you gotta keep going. You gotta keep doing the same thing. The big picture. It's all about consistency. You could have an amazing week, or you can have a bad week. You can't let that determine you who you are or how you're gonna keep going moving forward. You need to have a goal and focus on that, and whatever it is, just stick with it.
Yeah, with soccer and team sports, you lose, but your friends lose with you.
Yeah,
that's true. Like you don't lose alone.
Yeah,
and you have to work through that adversity, but you work through it with a team. The thing that fascinates me with racket sports is you have to pick yourself up, and there's no teammates to hide behind. You're alone out there, and the mental toughness that it takes for racket sports athletes. I think there's so much that the rest of us can learn, like team sports can learn from that ability to pick yourself up. And kids playing racket sports, where do you get that ability to endure failure? Because you've got to be able to deal with failure in racket sports at a young age. Where does that come from? Is it born? Is it the people? Was it the people around you that helped you through that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question because that's the biggest thing, right? Like, how do you deal with failure, right? But I think at the same, I think the biggest thing is that you just, you don't get too high on the wins and you don't get too low on the losses. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, if you're able to like find happiness on not the winning and the losing, on the journey, most of the time you're gonna succeed. Just because I wake up and I'm like, I'm happy that I'm gonna go train, I'm happy that I'm gonna go to the gym, I enjoy it, and then it's like, for me, if I win or lose, at the end of the day, I want to win so bad, but it's you just gotta enjoy the journey. I think that's how you deal with the failure. I think now, the older you become, you start to understand these things, right? Like 2 years ago when I started my, I didn't start it, but like 2 years ago playing pickleball, sometimes I will lose and I will be like, what's going on? Like I will be like at dinner, I will go like all the way till I go to sleep, just like, kind of like, what's going on with me? Like, why did I do that? Or like, today I lost. I'll think through, I'll watch a couple of film, I'll see what I can improve. And then that's it. Move on, because there's a tournament tomorrow, there's a tournament next week, and you have to keep going. The only thing that you can't let yourself is just to stop. You have to keep going.
Is that something that you've become better at as you've gotten older? Like, is that an advantage? One of the big advantages of experience is learning how to do that?
Yes, on the big picture and also on the small picture, meaning that in a match, right? In a match, you can't let a point define you for the next one. There's no carryovers. You gotta accept and move on, and then next point, 100%, and then it's like. And I think I've been playing better, thinking that way, and players are getting better, and sometimes it's just you can give it all, and sometimes it's not your day, and you have to accept it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to that statement of not letting the point define you.
Yeah.
And you said that kind of matter of factly, but there's a lot of wisdom in that. And as a professional athlete, it's probably not just the point, not letting the point define you, but also the critics and the opponent and the adversity. Yep. So how do you do that? Is it just self-belief?
Yeah, I mean, I have a sports psychologist that I work with, and we talk a lot about this. I'm probably gonna talk about what happened today, for example.
Yeah.
How do I felt? How did I manage my emotions? You can work on breathing exercises, which makes you being calm. Like that's the biggest thing: being calm, being in the zone. That's what it is, in the zone. Like just in the moment, you don't know what's going on around you. Just like in the match, you don't even know what's the score. You're just in the point, enjoying the moment. I think that's the biggest thing. But like coming back to what you asked me, like is, you know, like just the carryover is just not gonna help you. So just gotta find a way to, you know, give your best 100% and accept that by doing that you have your best chance, and then being okay with failing or succeeding at the end, because what it matters is that you actually tried 100% every point. Like that's all that matters. At the end of the day, winning or losing, I don't think it matters that much.
I talk to a lot of business leaders and a lot of coaches, and one of the common themes is today's kids, their fear of failure, and how fear of failure limits our opportunities. And you can't be in a racket sport. Like, I love racket sports because there's so many life lessons to it. You probably take it for granted because you've lived that life for so long. But the rest of us can learn so much, because you can't have a fear of failure in tennis or pickleball, right? Yeah,
you can't play not to lose. You have to play to win. Yeah, you have to play to win. That's big. That's probably what happened. Like, I felt a little bit like, I'm just gonna bring about the match that I just played. You know, like I was 9-9 in the third, and you know, I felt like I had to push a little more. You know, I felt like I didn't, you know, fully just, you know, let myself be. You know, I was thinking a little too much. Sometimes you gotta let yourself be, and you know, that's gonna give you better successful points or successful matches, whatever it is that you play, when you just let yourself be a little more.
Yeah. The top player in the world, and you're still learning how to get better at this. Like, there's still those times where that creeps in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough sport because, first of all, we're still all learning because it's a new sport. You know, you have to keep getting better because, you know, kind of like everybody catches up to you. But also at the same time, is, you know, you step on the court and there's another guy in front of you that, you know, is trying to beat you, and that's it. Like, it's not, you know, you're not just playing golf, that you're just, you know, on the golf course. You know, no, that guy is gonna put pressure on you. So it's like, it's a battle. Anybody can win. Like, anybody can beat you. You know, like, you just have to believe that you're better, and sometimes it's gonna work, sometimes it's not gonna work. But yeah, as you said, I'm still learning things, and you know, that's the beauty of the sport. Like, trying to get better, trying to learn, accepting that sometimes you didn't do your best, and then try to move on. And if you don't enjoy that, then you shouldn't be doing sports. You know, you have to enjoy you have to enjoy the journey. If not, you're just not in the right business.
Yeah. So let's go back to the young Federico. So you're playing tennis and you're playing soccer growing up. You're Argentinian, so everybody loves soccer, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
And so at 11 or 12, you decide to focus on tennis.
Yeah.
Tell me about that journey in tennis.
I loved it. I mean, when I started, like, I used to play tennis, you know, when I was 10, or I think I was 9 actually. And I was just like, you know, taking lessons, private lessons, you know, I was fooling around with my friends. I was already like a member of a tennis club, but it was always like fun, you know. And then I learned that it was like, wait, there's actually like tournaments, like competition. I was like, wait, wow, that's interesting. And then when I started competing, I was like, wow, it's amazing. I mean, I thought it was like the best thing ever. The fact that you could compete in a draw, and you know, when you're a kid, I remember that feel when I was 10 years old and signing up for the first under 10 tournament. We were all like little kids, you know, and I remember that feeling of like, wow, this is amazing. I was so mad that I lost, because I remember first tournament ever I lost, and I was so mad, but I wanted to go back there, and you know, like that feeling I still have. I can remember like it was yesterday, and I realized that I loved competing. So like that's my thing. Like, I just love to be out there and, you know, getting in the court and having a fight. Honestly, I'm not in love with practicing. I do love more, because there's people that love practicing and they don't like to compete that much. I'm the opposite. I just like to go to tournaments and like give it all. And the practice sometimes, you know, it's tough. But now with almost 30 years old, I learned that if you want to compete good, you have to practice well. So like I take it as my job and I just do it. But I'm all about the tournaments. I want to play. I want to play tournaments. I want to compete. That's where I enjoy the most. So that's the feeling that I had when I was 10. It was like, I love this. I'm always gonna be competing. So yeah.
So at 10 you had an edge, right? Like that competitive edge.
I mean, all the kids had it. I mean, all the kids love it to compete.
Yeah.
In Argentina, people like to they're pretty tough. And I just liked, when is the next tournament? You know, I will lose. Okay, when is the next one? I will ask my dad. You know, like, can you sign me up? Can we go there? You know.
Yeah.
That feeling, I remember it, and then that's when I realized, okay, I want to do sports. You know.
Yeah.
And then, I keep growing and I keep playing, and it becomes more of a routine. And you become 16 years old, and then, priorities change. You want to be with your friends in school. You want to go out.
Yeah.
So then there's distractions that it's part of life when you start growing up, and But I always loved competing.
Yeah, and you manage those distractions.
I did not actually. Oh. Yeah. So when I was 15 years old, I kind of started burning out a little bit because I would be like, all my friends are doing this. I want to do that with them. I don't want to go to the middle of nowhere to play a tennis tournament on Saturday. I want to go, to my club and play soccer.
Yeah.
So it became tough because 15, 16, I think it's a tough moment of your life because it's like you're not mature enough to understand that, hey, this is kind of like your job. You have to like give up some things. And then 15, 16, that was a rough time for me because I was struggling with that, with like giving up some stuff and then focusing on tennis. And then 17 came up, and I was 17, and an opportunity to come to the US and play college tennis, came up out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, that looks super interesting. So then that's when I really kind of like committed back to tennis 100%. And I started playing really good tennis at that time. I was like, I think top 10 in under 18s and back home. I mean, there's good level in Argentina. And then I came here, and that's when all started. The US kind of like history for me. I started.
What drew you to the US?
The fact that I could still compete. So that we're going back to when I was 10. I always wanted to compete. So like, I was 17. I was in my last year of high school. And I was like, I'm going to college. But in Argentina, there's no really sports related to school.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you can get a scholarship in the US and play sports. And I thought, that's so cool. Like, it's like, because you watch all the American movies and, you see that, like they play sports at school. And I thought that was super interesting. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I want to compete. I want to keep competing. And that kind of like drew me up to come here.
Yeah, I think Americans take it for granted that we can continue our studies and compete. And the rest of the world, you really have to choose, right? Once you finish, once you get to 17, like you choose one of two routes. It's hard to do both.
Yeah.
So you come to the U.S. And you play college tennis for 4 years.
Yep.
And what were you studying? Like, what were your dreams beyond tennis?
Yeah, so I came to actually Tennessee. I played for Tennessee Wesleyan for 2 years.
Okay.
So I played my freshman and sophomore year, and I did pretty well. NAIA school. I was All-American team, and I was playing number 1, number 2, double singles. And it came up to, I was a little bit like, okay, what's the next level? I want to try something else. And then I transferred to University of New Orleans, which was D1, and I actually didn't have a great experience with the team because I thought it was gonna be, once you move to D1, it's all more serious. I wanted to kind of like try to play pro, and I didn't have a great experience. I wasn't really happy, and then I ended up coming back to Tennessee Wesleyan, and then I ended up graduating in Tennessee Wesleyan, and we had a great time. We made it to nationals. We won a round. That was the first time we ever won a round in nationals, and it was super cool. And we were actually more competitive as a team there than in the D1, so I enjoyed it more. And and then that's when I graduated, and then the other part of my life came up.
What's the other part? What was next?
Well, so I graduated. I actually was an assistant coach for 1 year at Hanover, Indiana. That was a D3 school. I really enjoyed it. I love coaching.
So you still love tennis at that point in your life?
Yeah, I still have it now.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to accept the fact that going pro wasn't realistic. I didn't have the fans, and I wasn't probably as good as other players to like give it a go. And then I was as I said, I was an assistant coach for 1 year.
Yeah.
Then for visa stuff, I had to go back to school, so I actually got a scholarship to go back to school in FGCU, so that was Naples, Florida. And then I did my 2 years of MBA. I graduated, and then I started working at a software company for a friend that actually used to teach tennis to him. And then I would say 8 months or 9 months in, I found pickle. So I started playing pickle. And I started playing pickle. I started enjoying it because it was, again, that competition feeling, playing with my friends. I used to play a couple 4-5 tournaments. I thought it was super cool, had some draws in it. And then I'll say 4 months in playing pickleball, someone told me, hey, there's pro tournaments. I was like, okay, what do you mean? There's pro tournaments, there's prize money. I was like, okay, let's try it out. And I played a couple pro tournaments. Wow, this is kind of cool. I like it. So I started playing more pickle. Got to the point where I'm waking up at 6 a.m., going to play doubles pickleball, working 9 to 5, then teaching tennis after that 6 to 8, and then going to play some singles 8 to 10, then going back to sleep. And I was doing every day. So it got to a point where I'm literally just doing stuff like crazy. So that's a 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. day. And I didn't even realize, because when you do something that you love, you don't even realize how tired you are, and you just go. You just go. So I mean, and it got to a point where I'm doing that for 2-3 months, and I'm playing good. I'm playing actually really good. I'm playing against pro players, and I'm okay, I'm competing against them. So I was I'm gonna give this a go. And that's when 2022, I at the beginning of the year, I was okay, I'm gonna play all the Florida tournaments, and I play 6-8 tournaments, and I did pretty well. And then an agent came up to me and said, you want to do this full time? And I was like, can I? And then I made some math numbers. I'm like, if I play this, I'm making the same or more than my job. So I was like, I quit my job, and then that's it.
You went all in.
I went all in, because then that's when I had time I wake up at 9 a.m., I do gym, I do pickleball, and then more pickleball. So I'm man, now I'm playing 7 hours, 6 hours of pickleball every day, and then that's all I'm doing.
When you made that decision, did you believe that you could get to the top of the game?
Pickleball was really different. I wasn't thinking about that, honestly. I was just I love this. And this is so cool. I get to train all day and probably travel to tournaments. This is amazing. And just enjoying the moment and enjoying the game just took me to where I am at. It's a slow journey. I don't think it as I'm gonna be number one, because then it's too much pressure on you. I think there's a lot of players that go through that, and then they kind of go down. They're I'm gonna go play pickleball, and I'm gonna be the best in the world. I'm you could. I don't think that's the right attitude to take. You gotta enjoy what you're doing, and then once you enjoy it, then slowly you get to that point.
Yeah. You've seen a lot of young players come into the game. You've seen there's a lot of new pickleball. The cool thing about pickleball is there's new faces all the time.
Yeah.
Coming in the game. Very few of them make it. What have you observed? Are there characteristics that separate the people that make it in this game and those that don't?
This stuff there's a lot of elements there. I think the biggest thing is understanding the game, especially doubles. In singles it's a little different. You can go out there, rip some. You can be a good tennis player and kind of relates. You go out there and you can rip some forehands and backhands, and it's fine. But doubles is kind of a different monster, where you kind of have to understand the game, and you have to. Once you understand the game, you can start practicing it the right way. Because you could be out there for 2 hours practicing, and if you're not doing the right stuff, you're just wasting your time, honestly. But if you're out there 1 hour every day and you're doing the right things for you to improve, then in 1 year that catches up. I think it's understanding the game. That's the difference between the players that make it or don't. Then we have a lot of different things where you could live in Florida and there's better people to practice with. You could have better, you could, other stuff, like the other elements. But the biggest thing is understanding the game and practicing the right way for you to improve fast and then make it the faster.
Did you do that? Did you do that on your own, or did you have a coach that helped you with that learning curve?
Yeah, so I was really lucky. There's a bunch of people I have to be grateful for. At the beginning, so the first person that introduced me to the game, Domenico Geminiani, it's a friend of mine. He will come to my tennis clinics back in Fort Myers, and he was like, "Hey, you should go play pickleball." So that was my first interaction with pickleball. So he helped me out, kind of like he told me about the pickleball tournaments. He showed me the world, right? I think another thing before I move on that, one other thing that I do really well is I listen a lot. I listen a lot to everybody. And I want to hear what they have to say, and I absorb, and then if I think that's something that's gonna help me, I take it. If not, I take it away. Then after I play a couple, with other friends, I met CJ Klinger, who he was already kind of like a pro player at that time, and that helped me out with like, okay, this is the actual pro level game, So I was like, okay, this is serious stuff. So I got to know a good pickleball player right away, and I was like, wow, this is really good. With that, I met Simone Jardim, who she was the GOAT at that time. I mean, she still is on women's pickleball, and she helped me a lot with like, this is how it works. You get a paddle sponsor, you do this, do that. Like she like I have to be grateful for her. Like she kind of like put all the pieces in front of me, and she kind of like showed me the path. After that, I met my doubles partner at the time on 2022, 2021, Pablo Teles. And together, we kind of like help each other grow. We were kind of like in the same spot, and it was perfect timing for both of us, where we were like just practicing together and just like, interacting with each other and, discussing different ideas. And that helped us a lot on the journey of getting good.
Yeah. When you reach the top, whether it's business or anything else, when you start reaching the top, there's less and less people that can play that role. And so finding those people when you're making that move to the top's got to be a little bit luck, right?
Yeah. You mean
finding the people that can take you that last bit, because there's so few people. Like the further you go in a profession, I found the lonelier it can get.
Yeah, it's kind of like tricky because the better you get, the more people want to be around you, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be careful because just some people, they just want to maybe get something off you, So I mean, my girlfriend, she's been with me the whole journey, and she is the one that kind of like pushed me every single day of like, just go for it, just follow the dream. And I think that's super important too. And then you have to slowly keep making decisions, and those decisions are gonna either push you back or push you forward. And it's gonna happen where you're gonna make decisions that push you back, but if you can learn and then keep going forward, I think that's kind of like how you're gonna take it. But life is about making decisions at the end of the day, right? And then moving on or moving back, and then the more good decisions you make, the better you're gonna be.
Yeah. And pickleball is such a decisive sport. If you're indecisive, you have no chance.
You mean in the game?
The game itself.
The game itself is, it's a lot of confidence. Yeah, it's a lot of confidence because everybody can hit a shot. Yeah. Everybody can hit at the highest level. Everybody can hit a back and roll. It's all about, making it in the right timing, in the right moment, and then just, trusting it.
Yeah. Indecision is indecisiveness is the enemy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, so when you look to the future, what do you are you living like in the present right now and just enjoying the day, or are you also looking toward the future?
I'm living in the moment for sure, enjoying the journey. I'm grateful for all the things that this sport gave me. but also I'm being realistic. I'm making sure that, you know, I have a path, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I think about myself playing 10 more years of pickleball.
Yeah.
Probably playing 4 more years of singles, maybe less. Singles is just tough on your body, and just playing 3 events is hard. But kind of like those plans, and, you know, I want to get into coaching soon, and I want to help, you know, young kids to become better and better. I think that's the kind of like the future of the sport. If we get enough kids that, you know, they're involved with the sport, and then, you know, high school pickleball, college pickleball, that's kind of like, I think, what's gonna, you know, make the sport kind of like grow and be, you know, exponential. And you know, those two things, you know, I think I'm gonna be involved with pickleball my whole life now, and, you know, that's how it is. But you know, I want to be involved with, you know, my playing, and also, you know, at the end of the day, I want to be coaching, and I think that could be pretty cool.
Yeah. The game is getting younger, like, every year. Like, at the tournament this year, I think we have 200 juniors registered, and I think last year there were 20.
Yeah.
I think I heard that number correctly. So many juniors.
Yeah.
What? And they all look. They all want to be like you.
Yeah, and they all. Yeah, that's super cool that they're like.
Yeah.
They're involved with it. Like, the kids are more involved with the pro pickleball than any other type of person. Like, they love us. Like, they see us. They ask for autographs, pictures, and I think that's amazing. Like, the day that I don't, like, the day that a kid like asks for a picture on an autograph, and I don't. And I don't do it, that's the day that I will retire from pro pickleball, because I'm not having fun, you know. Because we have to keep this going, and they are the you know, the wheels. The kids are the future is the kids, you know.
Yeah. When you look at these kids, and there's so many that look to you, and they want to be like you.
Yeah.
What do you think is what is most important for kids to be doing when they're 8, 9, 10 years old?
Having fun. There's nothing else. At that age, there's nothing else. You gotta have fun.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun at that age, slow down, stop what you're doing, because those kids have to be interacting with them, having fun, you know, competing hard, you know, being kids, you know. You know, if they want to be loud, let them be loud. You know, if they want to cry, let them cry. Like, they have to be themselves, and then, you know, slowly they're gonna adjust to, you know, being a little more mature and all that. But 8, 9, 10, gotta let them be and let them have fun. Yeah.
I think South Americans are better at that than American culture. I think American culture, I see kids that are like pushed to compete and win when they're 8 and 9 years old. And then I look, and I'm most familiar with soccer.
Okay.
And then you've got the South American players who play in the street. It's not unstructured, and they play for the love of the game, and they love it. And those kids are the ones that end up being the best. You know, not the kids that are structured and competition after competition in America trying to win. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, 100%. I think just Americans, just it's how the culture works. Like, you're just more structured.
Yeah.
You know, if the if the light is, if you're driving and it's red, you're gonna stop. You know, South Americans, they're gonna yellow, they're gonna speed up. You know, because they want to make it to the. You guys are just more structured, and that's how you live.
Yeah.
So it's good for some things and it's bad for other things. You know.
Yeah.
So it's tough that time. That's, you know, the way I see it is, you know, I want kids to be kids, and then the maybe what you're saying is American dad, like some dads are like, you know, no, you have to be focused, you have to do this because at 45 you need to have $5 million in the bank account and you have to retire. Like, you know, you know, it's all about, you know, I think it's more relaxed, and then there's time to be, you know, a little more structured. There's time to be less structured, you know. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
that's my take. I mean, I don't think I answer your question, but it's hard because for some things it's good, for some things it's bad, but it's tough to be flexible on that. You know?
I see so many young American tennis players that get burnt out. There's so many tennis players, and I don't know if that's an international thing or if that's uniquely American. But I see so many tennis players that they graduate from college, graduate from high school, they never want to see another tennis ball. And it's like these kids have been competing They've been on the tournament circuit since they were 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I see some of those kids moving over to pickleball, and they have this joy for pickleball because it's not that. And I wonder if part of the magic of pickleball is the grassroots, unstructured, fun part of it for kids that maybe tennis has lost in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, pickleball is fun, but also when you do it 6 hours a day, every day, and you have to travel everywhere and you play tournaments, it becomes kind of like a job,
Yeah.
Some kids are getting burnt out, in pickleball. It's not like it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But the thing of pickleball is just a little more social, so it makes it easier.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little more aspect of like, it's serious, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there's kind of like of that, like, we're fooling around a little bit, it's not, it's kind of like a game. Tennis, it becomes more of like, it's kind of like your job. This is what you do, work hard. Pickleball is kind of like, it's just a little more fun and social, so that makes it a little more easy.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, less lonely.
Less lonely. Yeah.
And kids,
lonely, yeah.
the same reasons that you wanted to play soccer you appreciated soccer when you were younger.
Yeah.
It's a team sport. Like kids want to be,
Yeah.
they want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Of something bigger. But I do think that's part of the magic of pickleball is there's a social component to it that the kids not only look up to you, but I think you guys at the top spend time with the kids. I met 2 kids at the restaurant last night. They were here from California, and I said, "Have you guys met the big pros?" And they said, "Oh yeah, like they're really great to us."
Yeah, they get to touch the pickleball pros and
Yeah. And so it's like you guys are doing a good job of like building the sport. And I remember in the 90s, the women's World Cup soccer team in America. They were the first. They were pioneering women's soccer, and they did that for that sport. And they built the sport of women's soccer in America because they signed every autograph. They took every photo. They genuinely cared about the kids and made themselves available. And so many sports have lost that. So it's really cool to see you guys at the very top of the game, and you're doing that to build the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, not just me. I mean, I think all the players, all the top players are doing it, and I think that's good. We have to keep doing that, and you're not getting paid to do it, but at the end of the day, that's what the sport is gonna grow that way. As you said.
Yeah. Well, man, you've had a long day. You've got a lot of matches ahead of you this week. I so appreciate you coming in and sharing your story. It's inspirational. I learned so much from people who have achieved the top level.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, achieving the top is easier than staying. Honestly, it's been a tough one. Everybody kind of like comes to your head, and it's a different monster, and then it's fun. It's fun, and also it's fun. And I want to give you a shout out for your amazing complex that you have here in Bristol, Tennessee. I think it's a super cool venue, and you guys always treat us really well. We have an amazing player lounge. We don't always get to experience that, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, we have indoor, outdoor, stadium, gym, and it's super cool. So I want to appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming to Bristol. It's the highlight. It's the highlight of the year, and go get them the rest of the rest of this tournament, man.
Will do.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.